Yeah. Hello, everyone. We're watching some more of this because Fable loves the Black Grail.
And I'm
Right?
only here until I stream.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Mac literally doesn't want me to stream. He's just like, Fable, that's not allowed. I'm like, oh,
I never said anything like that. What are you on?
it's true, Chad. He did. He threatened me. He's like, I'm gonna take all away your juice. I'm like, okay.
When did
I
that
cried.
happen?
Does he? The worst part is he doesn't even remember.
Oh my god.
It's like the worst part of this whole conversation. He doesn't even freaking remember.
Anyway, he really likes the Black Grail because they're a creepy faction. Anyway. And Eldridge.
You know, I do my best to avoid comparisons to Warhammer when I talk about
Okay.
Trench Crusade. I
No,
do
you
this
don't. Shut up.
mainly for the fact that I believe when you're talking about something, it's really important to make sure it can stand on its own legs.
Yeah, I
I
can
don't
understand
like
that.
comparing stuff all the time to another more popular thing,
You're gaslighting
especially
Mac.
when what
No,
you're talking about is an indie title.
No,
That
Matt
feels really weird.
gaslights me.
no, you try and gaslight me all the time, Fable.
No, I only girl boss Mac, madam.
Oh my god. Anyway.
And possibly
We
sometimes
should
gatekeep,
enjoy
but
the
not
thing
never
for
gaslight.
what it's actually bringing to the
Yeah,
table.
we need to look at it
Literally in
from
this
its own
sense. And
merits.
as well, because I feel too many comparisons makes people draw illusions like they're actually really, really similar when they're not. And this isn't me just making something up. I've seen this out in the wild many times. People who believe that Trench Crusade is in some way derivative of Warhammer because they're somehow the same. When
Yeah.
this is ludicrous. I'm sorry. If you break these settings down to their absolute bare basics and mix in a little bit of, I guess, being wrong about the settings, if I'm going to be completely honest, at its absolute most bare bones descriptors of a grimdark tabletop war game with Christian imagery, then sure. They're
Yeah, that's really the only way you can see it, because one takes a galaxy spanning conflict, and the other is only on Earth, involving the power of heaven itself helping you to fight off
It's also
demons.
the fact that Warhammer tries really hard to deny its religious what do you call it?
Uh,
Inspiration while
this this just
freaking this
embraces
literally
it.
just yeah,
Yeah.
this embraces it hard while Warhammer tries to deny it in in every sense of the word. It's kind of silly in my opinion, but what can you do?
What can you do? What can you do? What can you do? But yeah. It's people always kind of do that, especially if it's a war game with Grimdark. They're gonna compare it to Warhammer.
That and something that I feel like a lot of fans kind of don't understand about Warhammer. They stole a lot of ideas from a lot of other
Uh,
like when it first
it's
started,
like
it parried a lot of stuff, like a lot of other sci-fi stuff. So now that GW is trying really hard to say they all started this and that, it's just like, guys, please don't lie to the
eh,
fans.
it's like the usual thing I say is everyone takes inspiration from somewhere. There's nothing that's a wholly original idea, and that's okay.
Yeah,
That's fine. You don't.
yeah, but just Warhammer didn't do it first. That's it. There's always gonna be different things that sometimes take inspiration or do their own little thingy, you know?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
the same game, I guess. That description honestly
Well, this
annoys
is
me
the
about
people who have to
Warhammer
told me
because what
this.
you're actually doing is erasing every Xenos faction and a solid chunk of the Space Marines, basically. There
Yeah.
are so many Warhammer factions that have no religious iconography.
Yeah.
Like, nothing. Unless the Tyranids find Christ. Don't at me. Though I would love to read that book, I guess. I say all this because I have to break my rule a little bit
Why would
today.
Spaghetti
Because
be
today we're
upsetty with
talking
you,
about
my
the Cult
guy?
of the Black Grail.
There we go.
A faction that is real gross. A faction
Yeah.
that
I
it,
kind of hate.
really.
like if you took Nurgle and was like, no, what if we were a little grosser?
I
And
hate
feel
that
like
idea.
one of the best things we can do
You
when actually discussing
oh go eat.
Yeah, I say this to all my people. If you're going to watch this, then do go eat. Anyway, we're going to continue on.
a faction that is very Plague and Pestilence is related to a very well-known other faction that is also Plague and Pestilence.
Yeah,
Is Nurgle the only
cult of the
god
Black
of
Grail.
decay and disease? Not in the slightest. Not
Yeah,
in the
no.
slightest of any
Oh,
other
pizza.
fictional
What kind of pizza,
universe.
madam? You have
Is
to
the
tell
one
me
that
it's the
I'm
law.
familiar with,
Oh my
because I
god.
cover Warhammer on my channel. Yeah. The fun of the Black Grail is just how delightfully awful and disgusting it all looks. It's just beautifully done.
Yeah,
The
there
lead
is
artist,
the
Mike
Knights of
Francina,
the Black
actually
Grail
worked
fable.
on a bunch of cool stuff.
I
He was a
love
concept
them.
artist for Diablo and Path of Exile, but essentially he has said that this game, Trench Crusade,
Really?
has
You made
been
Path of-
his method of putting in all of the designs and concepts that he was not allowed to put in a commercial product.
Oh!
So, I say all of this because this is my warning. I don't do this a lot because
You
I
are
cover
I'm gonna stop you.
Madam.
Focus on the video.
Hawaiian pizza? Madam, I trusted you. I don't know how to feel about you anymore. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I will say this. Putting all the designs you weren't allowed to put in other stuff is kind of crazy. That kind of makes me horrified by what he's cooking up.
grimdark subjects on this channel. So I feel like if you're clicking onto a video of mine,
Alright, fine.
you
I
should
forgive
know
you
what
this
the
one
subject
time.
is. You should be aware what you're getting into. If you are squeamish of a little bit of gore, a bit of pus, a little boils, a little organs falling out of people, I don't know,
Fable's
just don't
fine
look at
with
the
that.
screen for a bit, I guess. This is
I'm
gonna
going to
be
be
a little
completely
gross, so
honest.
I'm sorry.
On screen and on paper, I'm fine with it, but like in real life, if I had to like physically see it, I am not okay with it.
Well, yeah, I don't think most
I'm not
people
gonna
are in
hold
real
back on that.
life.
Thank you to all my channel members who make all these videos
I just want to
possible.
specify,
The
guys,
cult
as
of the
much as I
Black
like
Grail
this
is the
stuff, I
personal
can't
army
handle
of
it in
the
real
Lord
life.
of Flies, Beelzebub himself.
Yeah.
One of the lords of hell himself, who sits in the seventh circle of hell, which he cannot leave because demons can't do that. To explain
Yeah.
some of this, I'm gonna have to give wider context of how hell actually wages its war on humanity and the forces of
Okay,
heaven on
this
Earth.
is something I've wanted to know.
Mainly, there's one other faction in this
You
game
can
that I
eat
have
it
yet
in
to cover.
reverse.
One more remaining. That is the Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent. There are 7 seats that govern the War Council. Each of these 7 seats symbolizes the 7 heads of the serpent, and
Yeah, the
these
7 deadly
each
sins.
symbolize the 7 deadly sins. A very powerful devil that is the strongest devil, for whatever reason, that embodies one of these sins gets to sit on that council. Do they sit on there for very long? No, not in the slightest. This is a coveted position, and there's a lot of backstabbing, a lot of
I
murder.
see.
Demons,
Okay, that makes sense.
unsurprisingly, are awful and cannot be trusted. I don't know if I need to be the one to tell you that. The only guy who currently has actually kept his seat for long enough is the man forever be ballin', Prince of Greed Mammon. He's still there. But Beelzebub
He
is
is
not
ballin'.
sitting on this council. But I mention all that because
Ooh, that
he
was
purposefully does not want to. He should
love it.
be the actual Prince of Gluttony.
Oh, so he's not on the
saw all of
council.
this. He saw the council, he saw the court, and he promptly said, "That sounds stupid. I don't want that." He is by far the strongest. And so he just willingly will not take that seat. So he will let all
'Cause
these
he's
other
not
demons
dealing with
fight
the
over
stupid
the seat
fighting.
of gluttony. And they'll have to do this and take over the seat knowing that right behind them is Beelzebub, just allowing them to kill each other over this chair he does not give a shit about. He thinks demonic politics is cringe. He would rather kill a lot of people. And that's what he does with the cult of the Black Grail. And
Yo,
very
that's mean.
specifically with
Oh my
the
god.
titular Black Grail. So,
What is the Black Grail?
This is a pretty horrific thing that he likes to do. Sitting in the seventh circle, like I said, whenever he gets enough power and influence, he will literally send a traveling AoE onto Earth in some capacity. He shoots out the Black Grail, which is a plague of demonic origin, literally
Wonderful.
infused with hellish power. Now, he does like the traditional plagues. He likes to keep it classy. He likes to keep it nostalgic with some smallpox, yellow fever, the classics. However, this new thing he's been cooking up is horrifying and deadly, has no cure. It's horrifyingly evil in what it does and how it works. He sends out a literal tidal wall of plague. A giant black wall just moves throughout
that's
the
how
land.
it moves.
A swirling mass of plague, pestilence, bugs, locusts, supplies, just move through, just aiming for life in general. It does not care what the life is. If it is biological, it will be hit. But because it is hell, it does not kill.
I'm okay.
But by God, it'll make you suffer. Anything
Of course it
living
will.
that it touches will immediately fester, boil, pop, decay, melt, all of that. But will keep its mind. For a good chunk of time at least.
Wow.
It suffered. And then as it works its way through, eventually, if they're not immediately dealt with in the proper way, the person or thing that is actually infected with the Black Grail will eventually rise up in like essentially a zombified state as a full thrall.
Dear God, that
of
looks
Beelzebub
horrifying.
Himself. Something
That's
that he
amazing.
can
I love
control
it.
to
Oh my
his
God.
whim. Not like direct control, obviously, but will serve his whims. His whims
Assuming
is
direct control.
hatred of life and infecting the world.
Of course
These
it
are the
is.
things that form up the war bands. This is the stuff that you play on the tabletop. The people that have been infected by Beelzebub.
Okay.
It is very important to mention. I've been saying things in life. This includes like animals. This is not just people.
Yeah.
There are plague dogs that just got infected.
Ew.
And it mentions like horses and plant life. Like you can't play like a tree that got infected, but there's going to be some horrific plant life that just.
Yeah, you can play a tree that's
The
been
cult
infected.
aspect
Oh my
is
He's
God.
really,
not trying
really
hard to
integral,
know.
too, because people will worship Beelzebub willingly. They will actually walk out of their homes sometimes. They're hiding from the
Why?
Black Grail, this wall coming after them, because some people believe that if they willingly give themselves up to Beelzebub, maybe he will spare them in some way. Maybe he will spare them of the suffering and the torment of disease. After all, like a willing infection might just instantly take you over, but you're not going to suffer. He's not Nurgle. He's not Grandpappy Nurgle. He doesn't love his follower. He doesn't love anything. He actually just hates everything. Beelzebub's a dickhead. Quite honestly, he sucks so much. That's the thing with the health actions in this game, and I actually really like.
They seem to
I
not
like how
just hate everything.
unrepentantly evil they all are. Resoundingly, the idea to offer yourself up to Beelzebub willingly is a stupid move.
Of course.
It shouldn't be like a shocker that this is dumb to
Yeah.
do. But however, say for example you are a piece of shit, slick back hair, sloppy stains, all that shit. If you suck utterly and are a psychopath, you might actually catch his attention, because that's a useful tool that he can use.
Really?
So he might offer you a blessing of some form. The blessing is instead, weaponry, armor, looking like this. This is a pretty common thing he'll do.
I hate
becoming
the
like a
bug on the
plague
side.
guard. Essentially,
corpse
like the heretic
guard.
legions, when you take your hellish pilgrimage and actually go into hell, turn into something cool. This is how it's done. If you're infected with the Black Grail and you are properly hellishly attuned, you get to turn into a cool unit, and the
Okay.
level of your psychopathy and absolute evil is really going to determine how powerful you are. But a large majority of people just don't have their full minds intact. They are really just puppets for his whim. But
Of
there is
course
like
they
a
are.
command hierarchy, and the higher up you are in it, the highest being the Lord of Tumors. They are the people
Ew.
who actually have like the most free will in the most mental.
I wish they
clarity.
didn't.
Though it is blocked by an absolute euphoria and ecstasy in demons. So like quite honestly, they're not that complicated of a faction. It's just horrifying plague knights and horrifying plague monstrosities. That's the Black Grail. And in fact, to even keep it more simpler, the part I would normally talk about, there are many different variant warbands. They only have one. And this is something I was originally very, very disappointed in. Because, man, I
Okay.
was so excited to see all the different disease options and all that. No, they just have the one. The reason there's just one is actually talked about by Thomas Piran, who is the rules designer. In their Discord, he mentioned that actually designing a variant warband is something they're being very careful about. And something that is a little more difficult than it seems. The reason
Makes
for
sense.
the difficulty in actually designing this is largely because the Black Grail is just such a specific concept, being so tied into Beelzebub and their whole identity with Plague, that when it comes to actually designing it, it becomes really hard. to be like, all right, here's my cool
Hey,
idea.
I'm a piece of shit.
And then
I'll
you-
make it. No, you wouldn't, Dad. That's not a reason you would make it. No, you wouldn't either, Falco.
I don't know. Let them cook, man.
No, I'm pushing you out of the way, out of the mic. No. No. No to all of this. No.
Let them cook.
No, I push Fable away from the mic.
Hey, man, I wanted to stream. You wanted to take
my
up my
God.
time. It's on you.
Oh my god, you like being here either way, or else you wouldn't be here.
I mean, my point still stands.
Exactly.
all these concepts that are like, this is so interesting, but it deviates too heavily to the point where now it's a different faction, or you haven't deviated enough, and basically it's just
The same.
congratulations, you made the Cult of the Black Grail 2, and they just have a slightly different rule text. That's not interesting. However, the Dirge of the Great Hegemony is genuinely really interesting.
The Dirge of the Great Hegemony. That is an interesting suit of armor that reminds me of Dark Souls, honestly.
So it's
I can see
centered
It's
It's
around
the
these
Rust Knight.
enti-
I don't remember the Rust Knight. But
I
yeah,
heard about it.
there's some Dark Souls-ish designs going in here.
essentially known as the Hegemons, which there are two that are named right here in actual like historical context in this world. The two being
Okay.
Versinia Rex and Febris. These are two very powerful entities that were raised up by Beelzebub, and whenever they actually are raised
Oh.
up, he becomes uber powerful, so dominant in hell. This turbocharged entity, like his super cool Plague Knight, which his entire warband is centered around. It's centered around Plague Knights, if you really like this unit, which you should.
So
really
they are walking
But
forth
sadly,
first.
these Hegemons have all died. But whenever they die, their actual warband gets cut off from Beelzebub entirely. They're essentially like
Oh,
a completely different virulent strain of a disease. And then they're cut off. The strain cannot continue anymore. It can't develop. And they're exiled from his influence.
thank you for the stretch and
entirely.
hydrate.
They fight on in this like depressing, mournful way, fighting for like these gray warriors that led them in what is essentially a very incredibly violent, rotting funeral procession that has gone on for centuries. It is a very
Huh.
specific vibe, but I'm completely here for it. So then we have
Giant
units, and
funeral
I've talked
procession.
about a good few of them already mixed in here, because we have a lot of the people that are actually influenced and hit by the Plague Wall. Like we have the Thralls, which they come in multiple variants. We have
Of
the
course.
normal Thrall, and we actually have a Fly Thrall. Fly Thrall is puppeted by big flies. And they
Ew.
differ from
They're
also
puppeting
normal
it?
Thralls because they have a fly
amazing,
proboscis.
actually.
And they stab people and drink you with it.
Ew.
And that's gross.
It
These
is.
are the normal people that get infected with the Black Grail, and they have no autonomy at all. There's also big fly units, and these are the flies that actually fly with the Black Grail, like the actual disease wall. And then, you know, the actual Plague Knights, be it the main knight units. This is like the lowest rung of the royalty when it comes to the Black Grail. This is, you're now kind of cool. You have a bit of your own mind. You have a bit of autonomy. You're neat. This is the thing that all those like corpse guard, the thing you get for being a piece of shit, they want to become a Plague Knight. Understandably,
sense.
the big mosquito helmet, I fuck with it. Fuck with it a lot. Lord of Tumors is like the main leader unit when it comes to this entire faction.
Okay.
And these are the guys that actually are able to commune with Beelzebub himself.
Oh,
And like I was saying with their like
I hate
ecstasy
them.
of disease, that's the method. They just go
They
into
look
a full
great. I don't know what
disease
you're on
trance,
about.
just feeling great as they commune directly with him. Also the horrifying unit of the Amalgam, which is
Ew.
literally, as it sounds, an amalgamation of the people killed and hit with the Black Grail. And
That's
it's
what that
horrifying.
is.
It's so cool. This thing rules, actually. But yeah, the Black Grail is a very cool faction. It's very
Fable
simple.
seems to like
I'm not
it.
gonna lie, but it's not like a
do.
detriment to them at all. I
do.
think they're very, very neat, and I think there's like a lot of their designs that really sells this, because if you want to play a faction that's properly gross, like legitimately disgusting, these are your boys. You should look at it and read their rules. They got proper infection rules. If you want to play
Oh.
with that on the tabletop. So yeah, if you like this, like, comment, subscribe, do that stuff, join my membership, and see ya.
I
Yes.
liked it, but I'm not doing any of that.
What do you mean?
I'm not liking or commenting. I don't
Oh,
even know the
okay.
name of the video.
Oh my god. Well, we'll look at it later. Anyway, what did you think of the Black Grail fable?
I love them.
I hate them.
They're disgusting, and I freaking love them.
They're disgusting and I hate them for it.
Oh, no.
What do you mean, nuh-uh? I literally have my own opinion here.
No.
No, they're not badass. You just like gore in general, Dead. I know how you are.
See, Dad is amazing. He knows what's up.
Fable, he gets hungry when watching gory movies.
Same, actually.
You're both weird.
Not that bad.
Because we did well. I figured because they did well to make it ugly. Well, other than that knowledge, thank you all so much for coming by. If you like what we're doing here, you know to do all the big 3 things to help us grow. And I'll see you later. Have a great day, guys, and make sure to take care of yourselves.